Okay, let's pull back the curtain on the technology that kind of quietly shapes hours of our day, every single day. Yep, we're talking about the algorithm and that endless, mesmerizing scroll. You know the feeling, right? You pick up your phone just for a quick 5-minute break, and suddenly, an hour has just vanished. Poof, you've been caught in that just one more video, just one more scroll loop. But why is it so ridiculously hard to stop? Well, it's not an accident. It's by design. That's right. The infinite scroll completely changed the game for how we consume content. You see it on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. It creates this bottomless feed that just goes on forever. And let's be super clear, this isn't some flaw in the system. The system is supposed to work this way. So, what's the big secret? Well, it's really all about business. I mean, think about it. The longer you scroll, the more ads the platform can show you. The algorithm's one and only job is to figure out what kind of content is going to keep you absolutely glued to the screen. It's all about maximizing your time, which, you guessed it, maximizes their revenue. So, how in the world do these platforms get so good at holding our attention? Well, they learn. They're like little digital detectives. The algorithm is constantly analyzing everything you do, what you search for, what you like, even what you scroll past really fast, to build this incredibly detailed profile of exactly what you're into. At the very heart of this whole learning process is something called a feedback loop. Every single thing you do, a like, a share, a comment, even how long you pause on a video, that's all input. The algorithm takes that input, shows you more of what it thinks you want, and then it just waits for your next reaction. That reaction then becomes the next piece of input, and the cycle just keeps reinforcing itself over and over. I love this analogy from Jeannie Martinez because it just makes so much sense. Think of it like a groove on an old vinyl record. The more you engage with a certain kind of content, the deeper and deeper that groove gets. And eventually it becomes really hard for the algorithm and for you to slip out of it. It basically trains the system to just keep giving you more of the same. But what is it that makes this feedback loop so addictive? It's a really powerful psychological trick called variable rewards. As you scroll, you have no idea what's coming next. It could be boring, or it could be the most amazing, hilarious, or inspiring thing you've seen all day. And that uncertainty is the key. And trust me, comparing your social feed to a slot machine is not an exaggeration. The psychological mechanism is almost identical. That total unpredictability, that chance of a win with the very next scroll, it triggers a release of dopamine in your brain. That's the reward chemical. So we just keep pulling the lever, or in our case, swiping our thumb, hoping for that next little hit of pleasure. But here's the thing, this relentless drive for engagement, it has a hidden cost. When the only goal is to keep you online, when you optimize for that above everything else, well, there can be some serious downsides. The quality or even the truth of the content starts to become secondary. And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from Meta's CEO is incredibly revealing. He's openly acknowledging that borderline content, the stuff that's right up against a platform's rules, that's what often gets the most engagement. This isn't a surprise. It's a direct result of designing systems that value engagement above all else. And this focus on short-term engagement, it leads to some pretty serious real-world consequences. Experts have connected it to all sorts of societal harms. These systems can amplify misinformation and harmful content, they can increase political polarization by pushing the most divisive stuff, and they can trap us in what are called echo chambers, where we only see viewpoints we already agree with. So what's the answer? Do we just get rid of algorithms entirely? Well, not necessarily. A growing number of experts are saying that we can, and we absolutely should, build better feeds that are actually designed to put people first. For instance, a new report from the Knight Georgetown Institute, which was put together by a working group of academics and industry insiders, offers a really interesting roadmap. It moves way beyond the simple algorithm versus no algorithm debate. And here's one of the most important ideas in the whole report, this idea that we're often presented with a false choice. We're told we can either have today's crazy engagement-driven feeds, or we can go back to a super basic, boring, chronological one. But what these experts are saying is, hey, there are so many better options out there that can still give us personalization without all the harm. So their recommendations basically boil down to 3 main principles. First, platforms need to have radical transparency about how their algorithms actually work. Second, we, the users, need meaningful choices to control our own experience, not just some on-off switch.
And third, platforms need to start assessing the long-term impact of their designs, not just obsessing over short-term engagement numbers.
Now, while all those big picture changes are being debated, what can you do right now? Well, the good news is you're not powerless in all of this. There are definitely practical steps you can take to reclaim some control over your own feed and, more importantly, your attention. You can start with the simple stuff, like setting time limits on your apps or turning off all those non-essential notifications that are designed to just suck you back in. Try to be more mindful of why you're opening an app in the first place. And maybe most importantly, actively curate your experience. Unfollow accounts that don't make you feel good and try to replace some of that scroll time with other activities you actually enjoy. At the end of the day, it's all about being intentional. So I'll leave you with this question. If you had total control, if you could design it from the ground up, what would your ideal feed look like? What would you actually want an algorithm to show you if it were truly designed to add value to your life? Something to think about.